Hey everyone, so this is going to be a pretty short tutorial on just how to clean up our images in Photoshop before you upload them to your boards. Uh, in class I did the little example from the lecture. I took this figure and um, the drawings that were part of the figure. And so we're just going to combine those in Photoshop and then you'll just see how to do that. So first thing, just open up Photoshop. And we're gonna just open from whatever file you have. I'm just gonna open the base image. So I have this in project 3. All right, so this is the control sample right here. And then I'm gonna open up the other images, Control O for open, or you can do File Open. And I'm gonna just copy the ones that were given in the example, so just 4 images. And then all you need to do is really copy and paste them into the other file. So you can do this selection tool right here, or you can type M on your keyboard. Copy, I'll make this a bigger window. All right, so copy, then go here, Control V for paste. And one by one, I'm going to do that. Copy, paste, M for select, draw a window, copy, and Control V paste. And last one, M for selection, draw your window, Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Okay, so I have all of these files. I can now close the extra images that I'm not working in, and I'm working here. So you see when we copied and pasted it, automatically generated its own layers. So that's very, helpful because we could just turn them off when we're focusing one by one. But what I want to do first is line up all of the images. So I'm going to duplicate the main photo, bring it all the way to the top. All right, then I'm going to lock the base photo just so that I don't mess it up. And up here, I'm going to change the opacity, which is like the transparency, to 15%. All right, this way I can see everything that's going on underneath with all the extra images. I actually think I could go a little bit lower, maybe, 15 is fine. All right, so if I were to turn this off, you can see, what I'm trying to bring this out to. But you'll notice that the frames of the drawings are a little bit wider than the actual frame of the image. So if you press C on your keyboard for crop, you can just pull out the actual frame so that you can expand the view. All right. So then, yep, back here, I'm gonna lock this top control layer. Maybe I'll actually make it a little bit more recognizable. Yeah. All right, now I'll lock it. So now my opacity is at 25 and it is locked. All right, so now all these remaining layers are going to be my focus. So I'm just stretching them. I clicked the layer first, and then I'm just stretching it so that it aligns with the image. And so because these will be your drawings, you'll know exactly what you did, so you'll know where to see, you'll know what you're doing. All right, so just place that here, and then once I'm done scaling it, I know it works. I'm just going to turn the layer off and go to the next one. So Control T for transform. And again, I'm just stretching this so that it looks, you know, so that it matches up. I think this is close to you know, what it was intended to be for. So press enter. That one's done. This one, pretty easy. Scale it up, stretch down. All right, this is your nully positive negative interpretation. All right, and this one is circles. So this is the geometric diagram. So got their head. And I'm gonna say that those lines match up. Okay. So this is their geometric analysis. All right, and it looks pretty good to me. So now what you might want to do is if you have a messy photo or a background, you might want to get rid of the white lines. So one way to do that, I'll work one layer at a time. One way to do that is to just make sure that your image is already on high contrast. So go to Image Adjustments and then increase your contrast to 100%. And that's going to help, make sure that you have your strict black or, dark gray lines, depending on what you use. And then I'm going to select color range and I'm going to select all the white. And then I'm going to do a Control Shift I to invert that. And I actually don't need any of these here. So I'm going to just add this. Hold on. So I'm just adding the whole frame because I'm going to make the whole image a white back. There. All right. So now that I know that I'm selecting only the lines, I'm going to do uh, File, Edit, sorry, go to the Edit tab and then go to Fill. And I'm just going to make this black so it's nice and bold. All right, and so now we can see all the different dots and dashes. We can see how bold this spring that they drew is. Um, and yeah, you might not have to fill everything with black. This is just one way to make it really high contrast. So yes, now I'm just gonna fill in the background here with white. All right, so it's one solid image. Okay, so one by one, we're gonna do the same thing. So this one, I think that it's good to see the gray, so I'm just gonna select the white lines. So go to Select, Color Range, click on the white, press OK, and I'm just going to delete it. All right, and then I'm going to just create high contrast. Oh, not brightness, high contrast. Maybe I'm gonna, yeah, I think I will do that. So I just lowered the brightness so that the lines are a little bit more noticeable because you see that they were lost a little bit. And so I don't think that hurts anything. Maybe it's good to leave the clear background. I'm going to go back to the previous one and just delete the white lines. So select color range, select the white. I'll just get rid of it. Okay. So now we have these two nice on top of each other. Okay. So moving on to the next, turn the layer on, click the little square for the eyeball. We're going to do select color range, and we're going to delete that. Okay. So let's see one more. This one needs some more contrast, so image adjustments. Oh, make sure you're clicked on the layer before you do anything. Deselect if you still have your old selection by pressing Control D. All right, so image adjustments, brightness and contrast. So high contrast doesn't help this one. Low contrast does, which is interesting. All right, so I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to try and select the white lines first. That does not help either. Okay. Sometimes we run into these issues, and that's fine. It's just a matter of figuring out how to adjust it. So let's lower the brightness, increase the contrast, or decrease the contrast a little bit. So that seems to make it more bold. All right, and now I will select color range. And it still is pretty light, but there you go. Now we just lower the brightness even more. All right, good. That seems to make sense. So that's our solution. All right, so everything is here except for the primary image, which is in the background. Um, but I think that this is pretty cool. I'll just make a new layer by pressing this little new layer button. Press M for select, draw a box around the whole frame, edit fill, and it's gonna be white. So now we have a whole white background. And anything that's like extra that you don't need, like these lines, you can delete them if you want to. Um, but your choice, just make sure that you're working on the right layer. And then you can press the J tool to just up, and that's not the layer that it's on. Just make sure you're working on the right layer. Not sure which layer it's on. Deselect. I'm just gonna select it and delete it. All right, good. So that was on layer 3. All right, and this one is on layer 2. All right, easier than I thought. All right, so now what you're gonna do is file, save as, save this Photoshop file. Um, sugar. So example, still gonna take off caps. All right, so this is our Saturday example. Okay, so now you have the Photoshop file saved, but then you also need to save a copy so that it's a JPEG. So now here, go down to JPEG and get rid of the word. It says copy and save. All right, and that's a lovely combination drawing. Okay, so from here, that's when you pick and choose your hierarchy. So if anything, you can print this out at home and trace over that for your hierarchy diagram, or you can just hold up your trace paper to the screen and try it that way. But this is, a simple little way to correct some imperfections. All right, a lot of you have boundaries or borders from the scanning or, the picture taking. If you're taking a picture and scanning it with like cam scanner, just make sure the image is as flat as possible. Like these won't work because, they have depth to them. But if you really flatten the image, um, like on this piece of paper, on this table, then you take your cam scanner, then you're gonna have a much more accurate type of scan. Okay. So yeah, I'll upload this to YouTube and just let me know if you have any other questions.